Hi, my name is Deanna Nielson. Today I'm going to talk to you about illuminated manuscripts, and then we're going to make an illuminated letter. So throughout this presentation, I have a couple pictures and I have some information in the corners if you want to learn more about them. So illuminated manuscripts are handwritten books made between circa 500 and circa 1600 CE. They were painted with elaborate illustrations and often used gold or silver ink. So you can see an example of that on the right here. They're really interesting to look at. They're really elaborate and they're really just beautiful. There was a lot of work put into them, especially thinking about how all of this was done by hand. So here's a couple more examples. This one's from the Books of Kells. And this one's interesting because this whole book was actually made by a nun, which is really cool. You'll notice that some of them have letters, and that's what we're going to make today. Is we're going to make some cool illuminated letters. So I'm going to stop my share and then I'll show you guys how to do that. So we're going to keep it pretty simple and you can adjust it how you want. All I have is I have a sketchbook, so you want some sort of paper, a pencil, and then something to color with. So I'm using colored pencils. You can use paint, crayons, pastels, whatever it is that you have. Markers would work as well. And I'm going to lower this so that you can see my paper better. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to sketch out a rectangle. And you don't have to make your letter exactly like mine. Yours could be a little different. But this can kind of give you a starting point. It doesn't have to be perfect. And you want to sketch really lightly with your pencil so that's easy to erase. So I'm going to make this a little bit more straight. And then I can erase those extra lines. And this is just kind of giving you a starting point to work in. So I just have a really faint rectangle drawn. And now I'm going to draw a letter in there. I'm going to draw a D for the letter of my first name. And I'm going to draw it big in a bubble letter style. So I'll draw it and then I'll show you how to do that if you don't know. So I'm going to do it lowercase, so I think that'll be cool. And you can do it fancy, you could do it simple, whatever you want. So I've got my letter. Might be a little bit hard to see because again, I was drawing faintly. Now I'm going to go to a different page. I'm going to show you, if you don't know how to do a bubble letter, how to do that. So I'm just going to draw the letter that I want to do a bubble letter with. And again, with this, you want to go faint, but I'm going to go harder so that you can see better. But when you're doing it, go really lightly so that you can erase it. So you're just going to draw it, write it how you normally would. And then you're going to start making lines around it, kind of like a wall around it or a box around it. So I'm just following each line and going just a little bit out. So I went out, 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 all around this line. And now with the curved part, I'm just going to do the same but curved. So I've got that. But now I want the middle as well. So I'm just going to draw curved lines following the shape of my letter on the inside. And now I can erase that original letter and I have a bubble letter. So I'm going to do that again, but a little bit more faintly so I can erase it. Show you guys how it turns out. So if you don't know how to do bubble letters, that's how you do it. And if any parents are following along to help their children, this can help younger children figure it out. You can help them with that. So I've erased the middle, and so you can see there is my bubble letter. So going back to what we're working on, I've got my faint box, I've got my faint letter. Now I'm going to draw in some sort of pattern around the letter. So you can pick whatever pattern you want to do. You can look up some examples online, see something you like. I like floral patterns. I'm just going to do a simple floral pattern. And if you like it, you can copy it. And again, I'm going to do this really faintly so that I can erase it and color it in without any problems. And so I'm just drawing simple flower shapes. I'll show you in a second. So I'm just drawing some simple shapes of flowers, and I'm going to keep doing that. And again, they're nice and faint so that you can erase them easily. So I'm going to throw in a couple different types of flowers. I'm going to throw in a rose. And it's nice to have things going off the page because then it feels like it continues. So I've got it going off the edge of the rectangle I drew. And it's okay if they're not perfect. Just want to make something nice. And if you hear some sounds in the background, that's just my cat playing, in case you're curious. And working with pencil first is nice because if you did something and you're like, oh, that's not quite right, you can erase it and try again. So I'm going to throw in a few other types of flowers. And I'm just doing a general sketch. And then I'll show you guys. So what I'm doing is just trying to create a pretty pattern to go around my letter. As if you notice in a lot of the examples I showed, they all have these really interesting patterns. And that's kind of what we're going for, is to make something pretty to go around our letter. So now I've got this sketched out, I'm going to start adding colors to it. So something that a lot of illuminated manuscripts do is they add gold or silver. And they would use paint, but I'm going to add some gold colored pencil. And we'll see how that turns out. And I'm going to do it for my letter. And so if you're using darker colors, you don't always have to erase the pencil, but if you use light colors, you will. So this color is dark enough that I don't have to. And I'm just going to color in my letter with gold. And then I'm going to color in the background around it. So again, you can use whatever pattern you want, whatever colors you want. If you don't like colored pencils or you don't have them, use something else. This is pretty flexible and pretty fun to do. I'm going to lift my sketchbook up so the camera doesn't shake quite as much. There's a few different ways you can use colored pencils to like draw in. You can just do like straight lines up and down. You can also do like little scribble motions, which can help it blend together a little better. Because with this just normal straight up and down lines, sometimes there's some harsh lines. And so you can use like the scribble motion to blend that a little bit. There's actually a lot more to colored pencils than a lot of us learn when we're young. So if you're ever interested in doing really cool things with colored pencils, there's some really great tutorials on YouTube where you can learn to layer and blend all sorts of fun things. This would be fun to do on black or gray or even colored paper as well. And if you do it on darker paper, you're going to want to use white to make your colors pop. I like to put some white underneath or over top of my colors because that can really make it pop. I can add smoothness to my coloring. it's fun to do. You can even layer a couple different colors together to make a unique color. So there's a lot you can do with colored pencils. But I know not all of you guys are using colored pencils, and that's okay. It's a lot of great mediums to work with. So I've colored in my letter, and I want to color in the space around it. So you want to think about color. You don't want to just pick your colors randomly. You want to pick the ones that are going to look nice together. So thinking about gold, I think red goes nicely with gold, green, very Christmassy vibes. Pinks and blues could work as well. Really, you can pick something that you like and just kind of look at the colors together and make sure you like the combination. So since I have flowers, I think I want to do those more like pinks and purples. So I'm going to get out those colors. Put them with my gold. I think they're looking pretty good. So I need a color for my background. So I want to find something that I think will look nice with these colors. I could try a few out until I find one that I like how it looks. And maybe I'll pick another color to add for flowers as I do this. So I think now I've got a fun group of colors that'll work well together. And that's really just a lot of personal preference. So now as I'm using some of these lighter colors like this pink, I'm going to want to erase the pencil. So you can do that before you start coloring, or you could color the middle and then do it. I'm just going to do it before, because I can still see the faint line of where it was, and that'll let me know where I want to color. And then if you drew your shapes kind of fast and you want to make it a little bit nicer, you could do that now when you're doing the coloring. If you like the way that they are, then that's awesome. So I'm going to work on coloring in my shapes and background. I'm going to fast forward and show you what it looks like at the end. All right, so here is my finished illuminated letter. And again, you can do whatever design, pattern, colors you want for it. And it's really fun to do something kind of different. So I hope you guys enjoy this illuminated letters project. And I hope you have a wonderful day.